Good evening, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final pre-season race around Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be here. I'm Jack TM53, your commentator throughout the entirety of this pre-season, and I'm delighted to say that joining me in the commentary box with me for the first time in pre-season, and indeed probably for the first time on F1 25, I'd like to say that Jordan, aka IRCJPH99, is alongside me.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, first time. Well, I mean, this is pretty much the first time I've opened up the game since I got it a few days ago. So, although I'm sure the controls are exactly the same as 24.
I imagine it will be, to be honest with you. We are, of course, moments away from going into qualifying, where Jordan will be doing a run through of one of the drivers. I'll let Jordan have a little bit of time to think about who he wants to go on board with, but we've got quite a fair selection of drivers in for this evening. A number of drivers who come back from the first evaluation race that we've not seen them since, so I'm looking at drivers such as TTG Nathan, Lionel Griesby, and I'm also looking at Sunboy as well. But then we've got some new drivers for pre-season. I say new drivers, they're not brand new to IRL, of course, they've been around for quite a long time. So Ivan Belov, 44 in the Haas, is here with us tonight. We've also got Coke, not to be confused with Pepsi. I also believe that Joe Hamster is joining us as well tonight, which would be good to have the former IRL director back in with us today, across a multitude of other drivers. And we've got a really mixed type of lobby this evening, including Mikey RK13, the current IRL man, as well at the top of the timing page. In terms of the racing, though, tonight, this is, like I say, the last round of our pre-season. And what are you watching out for today, Jordan? Obviously, the drivers on track or anything, but is there anyone you're going to be keeping your eye on, or from what? What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, as we know, with the new game, obviously, all of a sudden, pace can change from game to game. So, obviously, looking at those that were sort of in that tier 2 sort of group last season in F1 24, the likes of Ginger, Nitrogash, people like that, seeing if their pace has improved at all, seeing if any of the tier 1 guys have struggled with the transition, because obviously I know, if I remember correctly, there is a slight change of the handling model again, so if any of those guys are struggling, but generally I think we're just looking to see nice clean laps and good tight racing, really. As ultimately all this pre-season is to get everyone together and used to how everyone else drives, so the upcoming season is as clean as can be. I mean, we don't want to stress the stewards too much.
No, I think we can all agree to that. We don't want to have any huge incidents going on. This is another great chance for that to happen. We do have Owen in tonight, and one driver who, out of all the races that Owen has competed in so far, I'm fairly certain he's had some form of incident, either through his own fault or just because he was by Daryl. No offence to Daryl if he is watching at the moment, he'll know I'm taking the mick out of him. But in any respect, Owen will be hoping for a clean race this evening. But we're almost ready to go. We are waiting on Joe Hamster, who's the one that we're waiting on. So naturally, what we're trying to sort out for this season, everybody, is IRL starting on time, which has been a legacy issue, hasn't it, Jordan, we would say?
Yes, yeah, I mean, Joe's are fashionably late, and you always got to make an entrance as Joe, but we all know he'll have fun racing, and once he's in, we'll certainly have a fantastic race on our hands with everyone coming in. I mean, Joe's a bit of a weird one. He can probably compete with those on tier 1. It just depends how much time he's had on this game and how much practice he's had.
Yeah, it does indeed. Clips has said let's go, so we're not waiting for Joe. So Clips has took action, and he's decided we're just going to get started as soon as possible. So Joe, if you're watching or wherever you might be, you've got a couple of minutes in terms of getting in for the actual race itself. Good evening to Tristan. Good to have you watching. I know you've been wanting to get in with us racing again, Tristan, but you will be with us for tier 2 next season. I can reveal that. I will talk about the 10 drivers who will be at minimum in tier 1 and the 10 drivers who will be at minimum in tier 2 at the end of tonight's racing. And good evening to Barry as well. It's good to have you watching us and everyone who's here watching on our stream. If you are watching for the first time, do like or subscribe if you can. It'd be fantastic to see that your continued support of IRL is most important for us. We're still continuing to grow. We are at Spa. We are at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. It's a 4.352 mile circuit, and we're about to get underway in about 20 seconds. Jordan, is it going to be wet for qualifying or the race? What do you reckon?
Well, I mean, Spud actually in tonight.
He's
Because
not,
if he
no.
is, we can just ask his. Oh, that's a shame because we could just ask his weatherman and take the opposite advice. But hopefully not. Because as much as I like the rain for pre-season stuff, I'd like the dry racing just to
No,
let everyone. And
it's
it's
decided
absolutely
otherwise.
tipping it down. Well, I
Well,
hope everyone's brought their canoes, so they're going to be river rafting down towards Eau Rouge.
Well, that looks like intermediate weather from my perspective. Of course, one thing I have to mention before we go into the racing is intermediate weather this weekend. Silverstone, the greatest podium, in my opinion, in the history of Formula One. I am biased towards the beautiful Nico Hulkenberg getting his first podium in these similar conditions. So let's see if anyone can pull off a particular miracle today. Jordan, tell us who you're going on board with.
Whoever pops up on my screen first, I think, it's going to be Typhoon. So across the start-finish line, down towards La Source for the first corner, breaking 100 metres in the wet. Just getting it nicely tipped in, just feather that throttle as you then head down towards the hill through towards Eau Rouge and Radion. Remember, Eau Rouge is just the little left and right, and big lift through Eau Rouge as they go up through Radion, which, I mean, in the dry, that's normally absolutely pinned flat. Down the Kemmel Straight we go then. Now, normally you'd have some DRS, and not in these conditions, and you're going to find your braking point for Le Com. 100 metres in the wet it is. Don't really want to touch the curbs in the wet, as Typhoon gets a little bit of a wobbler on going on the entry. Malmedy, again, very tricky in the wet, just because the car's always sliding. Now, Bruel, here is a corner in the wet, which is always scary. Off camber, down the hill braking as well. So you go a bit deep, try and square the corner off, straighten up the exit for the corner with no name. And Typhoon, I thought he was going a bit wide there, but a little bit of a lag spike. Down the hill we go towards Pouon, or Double Gauche as it is now known, but never will be known as. And again, just a little bit wide from Typhoon. I don't quite know what the faces are like, whether in the wet weather now wide lines are better. I'm not quite sure. Lefania, the chicane, down to fourth gear for Typhoon. Keeping in a higher gear just to keep the revs low and the traction high. Campus, down to fourth again in the dry third. Yeah, down to third as we go out of Campus through Stavolo. Again, this would normally be flat, but a little bit of a lift just to make the front end bite and the back end to behave. As we head up towards the infamous Blanchimont through Paul Coffret first. Blanchimont, not quite flat in the wet, but not far off to be fair with these F125 cars. And then into the bus stop chicane, again, nice and early on the brakes. You want to keep this nice and tight so you can open up the second part of it. Because again, all the cambers are wrong as Astube takes pole position. Up to the line we go, and across it, and it's only 17th for Typhoon, but it was a tough lap for him. A lot of corners where he just went a little bit wide. And we go to the results, and Ashtube does take pole position away from Sunboy in the Red Bull. Clips Kiri is in third with ARL lining up alongside him on the second row. Row 3 is Owen and Matty. Row 4 is Berra and Kent. Nathan and Nitrogash make up row 5. Row 6 is Milo Taboa, Coke alongside. J Ray Bay is in 13th with Ivan alongside him in 14th. Ginger Tiger and Mikey make up row 8. Typhoon, the last on to set a time. Hulkenberger is in 18th. Liner Griesby rounds us out in 19th after both him and Hulkenberger not being able to set a time or adhere to the limits of the track. not sure if Jack's still there or if he's muted, but
I am still there.
there he is. He popped back in just in time, ready for the race, which looks dry to me.
Yeah, it does look dry. I was just looking at the comments from the drivers in the Discord and on YouTube. What I can see at the moment is that Owen saying he went into the gravel at the end of Sector 2. Kent saying still finished in front of me. So I think Kent was a little bit disgruntled by the comment made by Owen. ARL saying that that was an awful lap. This was terrible. So places to be made up, I think, during the opening phases of this race. Now, what's going to be interesting tonight is we saw it in Interlagos in a social race 2 weeks ago. Two-stop strategy was what a lot of drivers ran. There were only 3 drivers in the field who didn't select up two-stop strategy. One of those drivers was Bjorn de Boer, Milo de Boer's brother, and he won the race in the end. And he was very quick all day, to be fair to Bjorn de Boer. His brother in for tonight, which will be good to see how he gets on for his second or third event with us here at Invictus Racing League. This is quite a nice jumbled up grid, to be honest with you, Jordan. I'm really excited to see the prospect of everybody going wheel to wheel around this fabulous track.
Yeah, I mean, it's partly why we enjoy the wet weather for qualifying, at least, anyway, because it does give us this mixed grid. I mean, at that point, it's not necessarily about, obviously, when we get to the season, how good your setup is in that terms, especially when you have this sort of mixed weather sort of weekend where you kind of have to choose how you set your car. Do you want to set out for qualifying in the wet, or do you want to, which most people will do, is set out for the dry, and then it's down to the driver to make that work in qualifying. So it does make a lot of difference, and definitely a lot of mix-up.
Yeah, absolutely. So the drivers now underway on their formation lap, and we do have a rainbow of tyres going on. So the top 8 all running the medium tyre down to Kent. TTG Nathan is the first of the hard compound runners. Interestingly, Nitrogash on the softs in the second of the McLarens. Milo de Boer, Coke and J. Ray Bayer on the hards, Ivan on the mediums, Ginger Tiger on the softs. So 2 drivers, Ginger and Nitro, they always seem to work nicely together there on the softs. Mikey on the hards, Typhon Hulkenberger on the medium compound, and then Lion agrees at the back of the pack. I know that Matty will be picking the hard tyres just because he'll want to get some laps under his belt without anybody really being around him. So that'll be his strategy.
Yeah, it's going to be. And Jack, what's the tyre like on this game? Because I'm learning basically. I'm a little bit behind everyone, so I'm still learning. So, but sort of tyre wear, how does it really affect on this game? Because obviously, on 24 it wasn't that bad. You could sort of run with the more worn tyres, but I believe again that's had a bit of an update in this game.
Yeah, it has. It's also saying that you all left the session somehow.
And I think we've had a mass disconnection.
Have we? Let us just have a look. I've got drivers warming up tyres here. I've got Ginger Tiger. It does look like we've lost a few people.
This is going well.
Let's just have a look. It's just I've only got Ginger Tiger and yourself
to me, everyone's left the session.
Okay. Let's just have a quick look. No, we've only lost you and Ginger by the seams of it. Everyone else weaving the tyres, taking different lines. So hopefully you'll be able to get back in, Joel.
I may have to leave, shut down the game, and come back in.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll get you back in.
Interesting.
That is interesting, but hopefully I'll keep an eye out for everybody. I'll make sure that Ginger gets another invite so he gets back into the race, because it's really important that he does. But the drivers are now coming around the final corner. We've got Lionel Greasby, the last of those in the Aston Martin, just coming up to the line on the grid here. And we are just about to go racing here at Spa-Francorchamps. So the lights about to come on. The cars angled towards where they want to be. It's Ashcheeb versus Sunboy at the start. And the race is live here for Social Race 2. It's a cracking start from the second row of the grid for Clips Kiri. He's going to be on the inside of Sunboy, but he breaks early. That's a sliding Red Bull, and there's an accident in the background. That's one of the Red Bulls. I'm going to say that's Nathan who lost it. There's all sorts of carnage in the gravel trap. We've got Ivan off the road, Mikey off the road, J. Ray Bay, Lion of Greasby, I think, just avoided all of that, but that all started from TTG Nathan just losing the rear and spinning around everybody. Back at the front, Owen, Clips, all fighting over third position between ARL. Sunboy trying to go around the outside of Ashtube. That would have been brave going into the chicane at the end of the Kemmel Straight. But it's an Alpine 1-3. ARL there in third place. Owen's in fourth. Then it's Clips behind. Then NSX Berra, who has got front wing damage on that Ferrari. And Nitrogash has fired his car badly up the inside of Milo De Boer. It has to be said, it looked like he was clambering all over the curb, but he is up into 7th place. Action-packed start already. A little bit disappointing we've had contact, but that just was a Constantina effect of the drivers trying to avoid the Red Bull of TTG Nathan, who just went round. Looked to me like he locked the rear tyres. So we'll wait and see as Berra is going to get overtaken by Nitrogash, I feel, in the next few corners. Nitro trying to make as many moves as he can early on using those soft tyres, but he gets all over the curb. He's going to go into the gravel trap. He's going to lose the back end, and where does Milo De Boer go? He can't go there, but he's going to try. And that would have been a humongous accident if he'd have committed to that, but Nitro coming across of him as Owen is trying to go past ARL for third position as they go into the bus stop chicane for the first time. They're still side by side, and he goes through, and Nitrogash is also going past with Typhon and Milo De Boer. They're going to be almost 3 wide, not quite. There's still action in front of us, and the Racing Bull on the inside of the Sauber, who gets good traction off the corner. I think Milo De Boer is just about going to hold on, but DRS is wide open, and I think, Jordan, you're back in the lobby and I can have a breather.
Yeah, I have managed to get back in. Coke, Ginger Tiger managed to lose a couple of places down towards Blanchimont to Kent and Coke. Coke right on the back of Kent as you go down the Kemmel Straight. DRS flicks open. This should be an easy move for the Mercedes, although I must admit that Sauber's got a bit of straight line speed about it, but not quite enough to fend off. As it looks like Nathan goes past Ginger Tiger around the outside again. DRS assistance. And Lionel Greasby is right there along with Mikey. Those two need to make sure they work together here and not collide, being two teammates. But it is Ashtube who still leads from Sunboy, and Owen in third, ARL fourth, Clips Kiri in fifth, the top 5 breaking away, and Nitrogash has got a little bit of work to do here on those soft tyres to make that work, because I think Lions has gone past Ginger as well. I do wonder if Ginger's maybe got a bit of damage, or if he's got that car set up wrong.
I'm not quite sure, really, to be honest with you. I wonder if Ginger's just trying to recover and getting back in control of his car. I know that he was saying that his I think it's his AI actually who's in control of the car. That's why he's sliding backwards. The game won't let him back in. So I'm going to just give him some advice, Jordan, if you want to take over for a moment.
Yeah, absolutely. As we head to the end of lap number 2, and Sunboy now just 4/10 away from Ashtube. He's going to start putting the pressure on the Alpine as we head across the start-finish line. Down towards La Source. Remember, there's only 2 DRS zones, the main straight being one of them. This is the first time they've been able to use the DRS down the main straight. And now down towards Eau Rouge. Ashtube just gets phenomenal traction coming out of Le Combe. Not Le Combe, La Source. Get the right line, we'll be alright. Down through, down to Eau Rouge, up through Radion, and Sunboy half a second behind. DRS open. How quickly is he going to get up to the back of that Alpine? It's rapid, but is it rapid enough? No, it's not. He thinks better of it. Good idea. It just wasn't quite there to be had yet, but you sense a move coming up as Milo gets past Nitrogash down into Le Combe, and that McLaren seemingly already struggling on that set of soft tyres.
Yeah, to come back to the question that you asked before, Jordan, about the tyre wear in this game, it is quite heavy. Those soft tyres are going to be screaming out loud in these opening stages. One thing I was trying to allude to before and then cut my own point off myself brilliantly was how in the social race that we had earlier on 2 weeks ago, there was a mixture of 1-stop and 2-stops, and drivers on the 1-stop strategy started to struggle towards the end of the race. And I think that might apply here today. We might see a 2-stopper. We will wait and see how that plays out as another driver picks up a time penalty, but Nitro looks as if he's struggling because Typhon is all over the rear diffuser of the McLaren in front of us. Milo de Boer is gone. He's up the road. He's 1.3 seconds clear of Nitro. So unless the McLaren's got damage or that tyre wear is as extreme as we think it is, the McLaren, I fear, is only going to slide backwards unless he decides to do a two-stop and play from there.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think, even though we're only sort of 3 laps in, somebody gets a bit of a twitch coming out of the bus stop, and I think that's Matty and Coke going, well, side by side with Matty off the road and 3 seconds to his name. I think that's his second lot of 3-second penalties, taking him up to 6 as Nathan comes into the pits. And even worse, he's had to give back that place to Coke for an illegal overtake, and he's now lost one to Kent. So Kent gains a free place. But as I was saying, even though we're only on lap number 4, it is a long lap here. As Sunboy to the inside, easy move for the lead. And Ashtube, if these two work together here, they could pull away from Owen. But Owen is a real big threat now behind. ARL just about clinging on to the coattails of the McLaren.
Yeah, they are at the moment, those 4 together. And Sunboy is going to go... Well, he's going to get overtaken around the outside by Ashtube. I mean, you do not see a move there going into Bruel, but that's a fabulous overtake from the Alpine. So it's going to be under pressure going into what is obviously not called Pouhon anymore. There's a yellow flag out there, and I'm just wondering... Mikey's gone round. Yeah. So that is, of course, going to be at turn number 7, I believe. The non-ideal for Mikey. But the top 4 are all together now, thanks to that little scrap between Ashtube and Sunboy. That's brought them all together. Then there's the next pack backwards with Nitro, Typhoon and Hulkenberger, who's having the time of his life in the Ferrari, up from the back of the grid, up to 9th place. I was wondering this before. We still don't know whether Hulkenberger's name is either named after the Lord and Saviour Nico Hulkenberg himself, or whether it's after one of the Meta for Fantasio games, which is released by Atlas. We'll find that out for you, but if it is to Hulkenberg, we'll know later on, as Berra in the Ferrari, I think, has gone for a spin.
He's gone for a spin, he's lost the front wing, and we have a safety car.
Oh. Wow.
Full safety car, I can only imagine for the debris caused, because, I mean, there is literally nothing left of the front wing of Berra's Ferrari. And we now have a host of pit stops coming in. Milo, Typhoon, Hulkenberg, and Nitrogash. Kent's in as well. I mean, this could be interesting for the Sauber camp, because they're going to be double stacking here. Yeah,
they will be, but I think Kent is... It's going to be stalled a little bit as the other side. And in fact, Kent is getting a new front wing. So, to be honest with you, it's not as big a drama as it would have been. So, new front wing for that Sauber. Lionel Griesby has come in. So, Lionel Griesby, J. Ray Bay, they started on hard tyres, as did Milo de Boer. So, they're going to have to pit again. There's no way those medium tyres will last 17 laps. Even if you take the safety car into account, they're not going to last 15 laps. So, those guys are committed to a two-stop. Everyone else on hards, Nitro, Typhon, Hulkenberger, Matty, Ivan, Kent and Ginger Tiger, I don't know if those hard tyres will make it to the end. It'll be very, very tight. Mikey's picked up a time penalty impressively under the safety car conditions. So, nice one, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way of gaining no time but losing some. Yeah, I think it could be a hard push. However, I do wonder if they're thinking an overcut against those on the mediums that have to come in may be possible, because obviously, as we know, the tyre blanket temperature is less than F124. So tyre warm-up is even more critical now on that first lap, and we've seen it in real life, and I very much hope that we see it in the game here as well. Is that first lap when you come out of the pits, you often lose an extra 2 or 3 seconds just trying to get heat in your tyres, and especially the hard runners at the start of this safety car, they're going to struggle for a lap, but it could come back to into their own.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely does have an impact on the game. I've noticed that in the first sector especially, you can lose a little bit of time on cold tyres, so that certainly will have an impact. The comment just coming in from TCG Nathan, he's apologised for the start, so my fear was correct that he did just lose it on the brakes, and that created the scuttering effect. And into the pits comes Ashtube, ARL and Clips, so they're going to cede track position to be on the right tyre. So they're going to drop to, well, stone dead last, the three of them.
Yeah, which is quite interesting because in theory, if we're thinking sort of in the same route that everyone may have to stop again, makes you think, could they have maybe carried on after the safety car because everyone will be in the same boat, unless they're thinking that the hard runners will get to the end at this stage and they'd have to make up nearly a pit stop because they will be on fresher tyres.
That could be the case. I mean, if I were to hazard a guess at what the medium tyres are on in terms of their tyre wear right now, so that's just for Sunboy and Owen, because they're the only two who are running the mediums, I'd argue that they're probably at about 13%, maybe 12%. So I'd imagine then that the hards are going to be a little bit less than that, maybe about 7 or 6% for Coke, who just, whilst I was looking, has gone up 9 places from the start. So Coke's had a fantastic time. Typhon and Hulkenberger both up 11 places. So from 17th and 18th respectively on the grid. Lionel Griesby up 8 places as well. But I think the relief for everybody, Jordan, is that even though the start was as chaotic as it was, with the Red Bull spinning round and causing all the accidents, everyone's brought back together. So the race is kind of neutralised and reset, and everyone's got a fresh start going again.
It is, yeah. I mean, obviously, it's not the standing start, which obviously people would like to make places off the start line, but it's near enough a complete reset. The question is, when will the safety car get called in? If it gets called in now, it should have the lights turn off just after campus here, because that's where the second sector line is, and hopefully Sunblue, as we there it goes, and hopefully Sunblue won't do a Piastri from Silverstone.
Yeah, that would be less than ideal. One question that's just come in before we go for the restart. Tristan said, do you have any predictions for this race? Jordan, I'll just ask you quickly.
I'd love to say yes, but right now, no. Because there's, I mean, let's face it, it's a restart. Everyone's on different strategies. Anything can happen. Anyone can win this race, I think, at this point. So, at the moment, not right now.
Not at the moment. Okay, we're on board with Owen then in the McLaren. We're watching Sunboy weaving the Red Bull in front of us as we approach the bus stop chicane. And if I'm thinking what Sunboy will do is he will go for it on the right on the exit of the final corner. A kick of oversteer for Owen as he goes through the right-hander. Sunboy goes now, so he actually kind of caught Owen out just a little bit there, and that's going to put the pressure onto him straight away, because Coke's going to look to the outside line. Milo De Boer locking the rear tyres, but he slides the car past the Mercedes. That is an unbelievable overtake from the Racing Bull to move up into third position. I thought for sure he was going round. Nitrogash then running in 5th place. Then you got Typhon up the hill as Coke picks up a time penalty. Hulkenberger, DXT, Matty, Ivan Belov up to 9th, trying to warm those tyres up on the white wall Pirellis. And Kent inside the top 10 as everyone tries to fire themselves up to speed.
Absolutely, Milo playing, going as if he's rally crossing there as J. Ray Bay and Lionel Griesby going side by side through Lecom, and Lionel Griesby just about fending off that position. Milo and Owen now side by side, I think that's through Bruel, and Milo gets that place done. I mean, he is on fresher tyres by 4 laps, which doesn't sound like a lot, but around Spa-Francorchamps, that is a fair amount of tyre wears. Owen going very wide there. Maybe in the dirt, yeah, just not used to it, or maybe just a slight late turn-in, but that McLaren not fully comfortable on the restart.
No, certainly having a bit of a struggle. So Owen dropping down a spot from the restart, and maybe we're all seeing the difference here with fresh tyres as Nitrogash now right on the rear wing of Coke, but just losing a little bit of momentum off the exit of turn 15. So the McLaren currently on the other side of a Mercedes, well, an inadvertent Mercedes sandwich if you think that Coke's in the middle of it. But at the minute, Sunboy coming under increasing pressure from the Racing Bull, so the junior company car is certainly challenging the parent company car. How many times have we said that this season in F1 2025? DRS enabled on this lap for lap 8. It does say we've got a yellow flag in sector 2. We don't, that's just a visual glitch, obviously, because that's where we're at. And I think the Racing Bull is going to get past Sunboy here, because he is right there, and that's a great line through Eau Rouge and Radion.
Yeah, absolutely, and and I think DRS, this is going to be a very simple overtake for Milo. Yeah, very simple as Coke and Nitrogas going around the outside, a bit of contact on the entry of Lecomte. Luckily no one spins around, but Coke's not going to be too happy with that one. Just the door suddenly being slammed on him when he was being overtaken, and Typhoon now down the inside of Barat. And that's the problem with Spa-Francorchamps. You have one tiny mistake and it costs you for the next 2 or 3 as you get your rhythm back. It's such a big circuit of rhythm, especially as you get into this second sector where it's just constant medium to high speed corners. So Coke having to get a reset on, but he's on those 7-lap old hard tyres. He hasn't pitted yet, and that might be where some of the pace is lacking in that Mercedes. Maybe hoping for a safety car later on.
Yeah, we're seeing it, aren't we, Jordan, with the difference in tyre wear. Even though it isn't much in theory, it's clearly having an impact, because all of those drivers who haven't yet pitted, some by Owen and Coke, have slipped backwards. Not by a lot, admittedly. They're still right there in the thick of the action, but Milo de Boer has broken DRS, providing he doesn't make any mistakes into the chicane. And, well, can it be a second Boer win this season, pre-season, I should say, because his brother won in Brazil. Can Milo do the same? And that is, contact with Coke, who went off the road, and that's a broken front wing, and the Mercedes is in the pits. I don't know who he collided with, but he got it all wrong. Yeah.
Ivan coming in the pits for the Haas team. So, and it's something we do tend to see. As I think there's more action as TC and there's all getting all sorts through La Source going on here, and it looks like Lionel Griesby's come out of that with end plate damage. In fact, not just damage, no end plate at all on the left hand side of his front wing. Yeah,
he got it completely wrong, did Lionel Griesby. He just completely outbraked himself into the corner, and that's that game over for his front wing. TCG Nathan moves past ARL for 13th place, and Clips Kiri goes past Lionel Griesby. So now the Aston Martin is, I fear, just going to fall further and further back. It's a shame about the contact with Coke and Ivan, because it just looks as if Coke had got it wrong and then tried to come back on circuit, and yeah, it was always a recipe for disaster.
It's always a thing with that bus stop chicane, because of the way it is and the camber angles, very easy to be a bit confident going in, carrying a bit too much pace, and also just to lose it mid-corner, just unsuspectingly as well. So not a huge surprise that something has happened down there, but it's definitely shuffled that mid-pack, as I think Ashtube side by side with Berra through Lafania chicane. The Alpine round the outside of the left-hander, space given, good racing from the pair, and Ashtube into 11th place. But he's going to have pressure from the Ferrari all the way up through Blanchimont.
Yeah, he absolutely will do. Berra, for his first performance this season in the opening 5 races that we've done as part of pre-season today, so he did say that he was looking forward to tonight. The Ferrari doing a good job, but he has got the attentions, and that's some boy in the pits, I believe, as Nathan tries to go around the outside. The 2 Dutch drivers fighting over position, but I think the Ferrari, well, I was going to say should have the traction, but a huge snap of oversteer lets the Red Bull through, and here comes ARL to the outside at La Source, but no move doing quite there. Can he get underneath the Ferrari? He cannot, but DRS will be enabled. So let's see how they respond going down this Kemmel Straight.
I was expecting a little bit of DRS gamemanship around Spa-Francorchamps, especially at La Source, because now Nathan, he's made that overtake, but now he's just easy pickings to a degree. I mean, he does have DRS, but obviously not enough to stop Berra from going back through, and obviously Ashtube just up the road in 10th now, supplying a little bit of a draft to that Ferrari.
Yeah, Nathan not having any battery down the back straight there, which is what cost him in the fight with his fellow compatriot. Oh, Berra having a huge snap of oversteer. Some of the car control on display today has been equally brilliant and equally awful at times. But that Ferrari, I was convinced, was heading to the scene of the accident and survived, and has now managed to pull away from Nathan. So, credit where it's due, the Ferrari driver has carried on ahead. There is a split in the field. You've got Milo on his own up front, but then there's second through to 7th, all separated by, I would say, nose to tail would probably be the best way to describe that lot. Then there's J-Way Bay just on the exit of that group. Ginger Tiger has taken Ashtube with him. And then there's the next group of NSX, Berra, Nathan, ARL, Clips, and then Mikey, who's recovering from his earlier issues. Some boy who's obviously been in the pits and has actually got a bit of fresh air, so that might play into his hands. Keep an eye out on Sunboy. At the moment, he's only 19 seconds off the leader, and in theory, those tyres should go to the end.
Yeah, in theory is always the two key words there. You never know what might happen, and as far as we're concerned, it's never quite going to work out until you reach those sort of last 3 laps where the safety car won't appear. We've still got sort of 11, 12 long laps left to go here, as I think Nitric Ash, Owen, side by side down to Lecom, and Nitric Ash should get the move complete. Yes, he does down the inside. The question is, does that give an opening to Typhoon through Malmedine down towards Bruel, looking for the up and under? It looks like he's going to get a wheel alongside. Down towards Bruel, lovely little piece of driving, but he's down the inside, which we have seen is a bit tricky. But Owen unable with the 10-lap-old medium tyres to keep it round the outside.
Yeah, Typhon, I've got to say, 2 really lovely overtakes the last few laps from the Sauberman, channeling the inner Nico Hulkenberg today. That's a fantastic overtake. That is DXT Matty running wide at P1, and Kent goes through as well. So the Saubers making some nice moves. Oh, the Williams almost going into the back of Kent. Gets away with it just by millimetres, I would say, going into that chicane. And I think J. Ray Bay runs a little bit wide as a result of following DXT Matty's line. Ginger on the back of this group, and Ashtube, don't forget, has already pitted under those safety car conditions, is now inside the top 10 and on the back of this train. Well, at the front, Milo de Boer is streaking clear. He's having a fantastic time out front.
He is, but the big question really here, as I think Owen's now coming into the pits, he's had enough of those medium tyres. I mean, he has done half the race on them, admittedly, with a little bit of safety car to help him, but they were definitely struggling. The key hitting here for Milo de Boer is can he keep those tyres in check, because we've seen drivers struggling with these medium tyres after sort of 7-8 laps of running. So will he have to have a pit stop and try and make a massive charge at the end of this race?
Yeah, that is going to be a really critical question, which we'll find out the answer to. I'd be shocked if he makes it to the end on those tyres.
Kent down the Kemmel straight into Lecomte.
Ooh.
I'm not sure. I don't know if Kent has made a little bit of contact with the rear wheel of Matty, and that's why they both went a little bit wide. It looked like Kent was looking to try and maybe get a switch as he looks to dive it down the inside. Does get the nose inside of Matty. Side by side down towards the corner, no name, and Kent claims it. That's a nice move. It was aggressive but clean, and yeah, very nice racing between the two. Like I said, Lecomte, I think they just had a tiny bit of contact, with both of them going a little bit wide because of it.
Yeah, they did indeed. They both ran over it, but it's hard and aggressive from Kent, which we should expect from him, to be fair. He's had a number of races like that over the seasons at IRL, but to be fair to him, that was a nice move, and that's put Ashtube onto the back of DXT Matty. So Ashtube again just quietly moving his way back through the field. He's someone that I've been quietly impressed with this pre-season in the Alpine. He has certainly put a good shift together. J. Ray Bay is another one who's doing a good job this evening too, inside the top 8. He's going to look to the outside of the Alpine on the approach to the bus stop, putting his nose to the outside, which he probably won't squeeze by. And sure enough, he does not, and that's a nice exit. You were saying, Jordan, that Ashtube earlier, when he was leading the race, he had really nice traction. He just seems to have his pedal settings that he's using just in the right place. Just seems to be working for him, considering everyone's on preset setups.
Yeah, and it's a really nice thing to have as ARL gets past Nathan, because if you can do that on default setups, once you start making your own custom ones ready for the upcoming season, my word, does it become really easy, because you can set that car up exactly how you want it. As DXT Matty now past Kent down into Lecomte. This time, both of them making the corner, and Kent definitely no chance of him coming back. Or I say that as it looks like Matty's a little bit slow out on Malmedy, but Kent, unfortunately, this time around can't quite find enough of a gap to slot that Sauber into.
No, not quite, but Kent seemingly has... Oh, I was good. No, and there he goes. I was just about to praise him, but the Sauber spins out of what would have been effectively P6. It's a massive shame. He was running really well, Kent. He's got back on track. He's going to be just in front of Owen, I think, yes, he will be, but Owen charging after him. I think he'll be fine though. But that's a shame. Just a wheel on the grass for Kenton. Round he went, but no damage, so he can carry on. And he needs to see what type of lap times he sets as the Ferrari of Berra gets a little bit wide on the exit of campus just then. It's all action-packed.
Something to note here, look at the gap between Milo and Nitro. That's come down to just under 2 seconds now. And I did see Milo was 2 seconds down on his fastest lap after 2 sectors. And yeah, 2.2, a 49.8 for him. I don't quite know what Nitro Gash's time was, but
48.7.
Yeah, there we go. So those medium tyres already starting to suffer, and even J. Ray Bay has agreed with us. He's in the pits for his pit stop.
And the one to watch, the one who's lighting up the timing screens at the moment, is Sunboy in 12th place, even though he's on his own again, and he's got just another couple of seconds in front of him before he catches up to Clips. What are you seeing, Judd?
ARL past Berra, down towards Rouge. I thought they were going to potentially go through side by side, but Berra backed out. We're now going to go 3 wide down Lecom as Nathan gets the pair of them. I think because, oh, I know, that's a bit of contact. Berra into the back of Nathan, both of them just about surviving. Berra just about with his front wing attack. ARL takes advantage, back into 9th place. But yeah, Berra and ARL were almost going to go side by side through Rouge. And I think that's caused them both to sort of lift out of it to make sure they get through cleanly. And that gave Nathan a wicked run up the top through Radion. Yeah, again, apart from the bit of contact that they come, good driving between all three to keep that one relatively clean.
That was immense. What a run from Nathan to go past the pair of them, and Berra then with the DRS just misjudging his braking zone and sliding into the back of the Red Bull. I think he's dropped a little bit of time, has Berra. I'm just looking to see. Doesn't look as if there's any front wing damage, but he's having another snap of oversteer through turn 14 like he did on the previous lap. And just joining them now is Clips Kiri and Sunboy, who's had all of that time to himself. There's a yellow flag, and that's Coke, who's gone round. He's getting back on track. And that's Ginger Tiger going past DXT Matty.
As is, oh, that's interesting. Milo in the pits, as is Nitro Gash. Now, Nitro Gash on those hard tyres.
And a couple of others coming in, so it's not just them. So we have a bit of a situation here. We've got Milo, we've got Hulkenberger in the pits. Sunboy carries on. Nitro, pretty much everybody is making a second pit stop. And to answer your question firmly now, Judd, it does look as if it's a battle between the two stoppers. Those that have made the conventional two stop, those that have done it under the safety car, and Typhon, who is yet to pit after the initial safety car earlier on. So is he going to try and take, or are they going to try and take them to the end of the race? We shall see. But that was a lot of pit stops in one go there.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. He's got a yellow in Sector 3. That's Mikey's gone round at the bus stop chicane. Ended up in the pit lane entry lane, but probably not looking to go there as Kent gets past Nitro Gash. Yeah, the big thing there, Nitro Gash going in on the hard tyres on the same age as Milo. So are we saying then that the hards are actually not very good for tyre wear because they've only lasted just as long as some medium tyres, which is not ideal, because you'd have thought Nitro might have wanted to go an extra lap or two, maybe try and get a bit of an overcut.
You'd have thought.
And have less laps on those medium tyres to really push them.
And the other thing as well that will frustrate Nitro principally at the moment is that he's got overtaken by Kent as he's come out of the pits. And he's now losing time, hand over fist, not only to Milo, but to Hulkenberger and J. Ray Bay and Ivan Belov, because those guys are catching them now. He's losing that amount of time to Kent, who's on 10-lap-old hard tyres. So not ideal for the McLaren driver as Typhon pits. So Typhon deciding to make that pit stop. And Sunboy, I thought was pitting, but actually hasn't done so. Ooh, there's a bit of gamesmanship going on there.
Ken definitely not wanting to let Nitro through. I mean, let's face it, these two have raced each other for years. They both know how each other drive, and to be fair, Kent's the slightly more aggressive one, but both of them like to make moves and they like to make sure they hold their opponent up. But you see the grip. Oh, that was close between Nitro and Typhoon on the exit of the pit lane. That could have been a big accident, but yeah, obviously Nitro, he knows how Kent goes. Kent does not yield any position unless it's for his teammate. As Hulkenberger now, ooh, that was close. comes past him with the DRS. They will look to go down the inside of Typhoon. Will he? Makes a look, thinks better of it.
And Typhoon will be appreciative of that, because for them, what they can do now is fire up those soft tyres. But can those soft tyres last 7 laps, including the one that they're on? I don't know if they can. That's going to be a really challenging question over the next 7 laps, whether those soft tyres can make it to the end of the race, as Owen picks up a time penalty, which is critical for his race, because he might fall off the podium with a charging Nitro, Typhon and Hulkenberger going after those guys for a spot inside the top 3. More penalties abound. Under pressure, Ivan Belov from Ginger Tiger, who's trying to make a move up the inside. They lean on one another's side pod, but the Haas stays ahead. But Ginger wanting to get past as quickly as possible, because he's got a 6-lap life tyre offset to the Haas in front of him.
Yeah, that's going to be very frustrating. Something to look at was on Milo 5.2. We got Coke, I think, has just gone round just after Bruel. As J Ray Bay gets.
Wow! That is
Tiger Life and
so
Belov
close.
getting very close to each other, practically greeting each other as they go side by side.
And that's a really good opportunistic bit of driving from the Williams for DXT Matty to go through. And Ivan Belov sadly sinking like a stone, because Nathan's up the inside, hits the back of the Williams. And that's the second time today for the Red Bull that he's misjudged turn 1. And Ash Tube's going to go past Nathan, and he's going to slot in just behind the Haas and wait for the DRS. It is all kicking off here. It's so difficult to keep on top of the action, everybody. There's that much frantic action. Here comes Ivan now with his DRS wide open. He's going to try and go on the grass to go past Ginger Tiger. It's 3 wide. Unbelievable into Lane Calm, and there goes the Red Bull. Goes Nathan. They're still 3 wide. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Here comes Ash Tube. There's more contact, and they've somehow survived it all.
Yeah, they've all survived except for Nathan, who got left at Le Calm as he, I think he just locked the rears on entry. No contact at all for him, but just trying to avoid everyone, just locking the rears. A bit more contact between ARL and Ivan as ARL gets past Ivan now, and Berra trying to follow him through, coming down towards Pouon. I think Berra's going to have that one in the bag as Ivan runs a little bit wide. Clips Kiri now involved in this battle as he's up to the back of the Haas. Yeah, absolutely incredible. I mean, the fact they're going 3 wide through Le Calm. Ash trying to be very opportunistic through Malmedy, didn't quite work for him. And Ginger, I don't think Ginger Tiger even saw him when he turned into Malmedy. Yeah, absolute chaos really, but generally speaking, good racing. Just a little bit messy, but it's all hard racing. When you're sort of like that, you've got to take your opportunities when they come.
They absolutely do, and that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. It was certainly aggressive, maybe perhaps over the limit in some senses, but in a pre-season race, you would rather have the drivers iron that out and kick each other in the face now rather than during the official races. But hey-ho, we carry on to lap 18. Would you believe we've still got 5 more laps of action to come? And at the point in this moment of the race, DXT Matty is at the front of this, I would say, 6-car train. He's got
Milo
Ginger.
De Boer going past Owen down the Camel Straight. Easy move for him. This is going to get very interesting. He's 3.8 now behind Sunboy. 4 and a bit laps to go, but as we know, those mediums don't last very long. He's only probably got another 3 laps worth of really nice tyre life for those mediums. Sunboy on those 8-lap old hard tyres, you'd like to think will be a little bit better off come the end of this race, but that offset could make this race very tight at the end, as ARL and Matty battling it out as they go through Bruel and down towards No Name.
Matty has just lost 3 places in 3 corners. He ran wide at Les Carmes and then went wide at the next corner at turn number 7, and that just allowed Ash Tube to go past and then ARL to go through. So DXT Matty, who was having a great fight for 8th place, is now having a great fight over himself in 11th as Mikey retires in the pits. So nightmare race for the IRL director. I'll chat with him later about that and explain to him he needs to go a bit faster. But at the front, like Jordan was saying, Sunboy leading the way, but Milo De Boer, he's taken Owen with him, but Owen's obviously got that penalty, so Milo probably won't be feeling too pressured by the McLaren behind. But can he use those tyres, and can they last long enough for him to mount a challenge to the Red Bull at the front? Nitrogash has still got Typhon with him. He's having a fantastic race in that Sauber. Hulkenberger running in 6th position, then it's J. Ray Bay, and then you've got the trio group as the Williams of Matty goes into the pits. But you've got the Mercedes and the 2 Alpines, who I have a feeling, Jordan, are going to go for it for another round as Matty retires in the pit lane.
Yeah, unsurprising for Matty. I wonder if he's maybe got a bit of damage on that car, maybe floor damage. That isn't going to help him very much. But yeah, the Alpines looking to tee up Ginger Tiger here. I'd like to think Astrid will probably get Ginger Tiger here, but he is a little bit far back. He might not get him actually, because obviously the DRS zone, I believe, shortened for this year at Spa-Francorchamps. Like many DRS zones this year, as Ivan and Clips are having a bit of a battle down the Kemmel Straight. Ivan winning that one so far, but Clips all over the back, a tiny touch as they go through Malmedy. But again, nothing too serious. As we got a yellow. That's from Matthias. Liner Griesby has crashed coming out of the bus stop chicane.
Yeah,
he's hit the barrier that's come back towards the circuit.
I wonder if he's gone over the curb and the car's spat him out.
Oh, as Nitrocash picks up a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. Yeah, it's almost like he's done like an Albon from China, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that would be correct. Oh, that's a shame. So both Aston Martin's out, and this is going to again shake up the field. Somebody decides to carry on. I'm just looking at the leading gaps here. So somebody has decided to carry on. Milo de Boer's carried on. Owen is in the pits, so that is critical. He'll be going to the soft tyres. We watch for the rest.
Owen's going to serve that penalty as well, I think.
Yeah, he can do, I think.
Oh, no.
It's a time penalty, isn't it, for the track limits? Yes, it is.
Yes.
So it's Nitro who's got the drive-through. So Nitro hasn't done that.
He can't serve that under safety car. He must serve that under green flag conditions.
Yeah, that's a nightmare for the second McLaren. Hulkenberg carried on. Owen has come out of the pits in 6th place. He's just in front of J. Ray Bay. So fresh soft tyres for Owen. How many laps are going to get of action, I wonder? I'm assuming it's going to just be the one. I'm assuming it'll either come in this lap or the next.
Yeah, just a bit of update from the pits. Ted Kravitz has been in contact saying Maxi had side pod damage from turn 1. So he's a bit of a sitting duck and had no aero when cornering.
Ah, that would explain it. That brings an end to Matty's race, which is a great shame. Everyone else out from 10th backwards has basically pitted. So NSX Bearer, Ashtube, Ivan, Clips, TCG Nathan hasn't pitted, although it looks like he has. He actually hasn't. Kent has got a new fresh set of softs on, and Coke, who is just coming into La Source and nearly does spin the car into the pit lane, is going to get a new fresh set of softs on. But I fear for Coke he won't join the back of the queue as he crashes in the pit lane. That's interesting. Does a Bearman?
Yeah, only not under a red flag. Which is, I mean, it's not much better being under safety car, but it's a little bit better. Yeah, as you go going a bit of issue through the bus stop as Matty has left the session. I think we might get one more lap for safety car, although it depends what happens now.
He's
coming in.
So we're looking,
wanting to get this underway as soon as possible.
So we're looking at Ivan and Clips, who should join the back of the queue. I don't think they'll have an issue. It'll be tight, but they'll be fine. Nathan's the big question. We don't know. That's going to be very
if Nathan
close.
Doesn't he could end up getting quite a good run coming out of the bus stop chicane over
That's very true.
Oh, the McLaren of Owens just hit the wall. He's lost the end plate of his front wing. He's just trying to warm up his tyres. Looks like he's lost it.
No.
And he's hit the front end on the wall on the run up to Paul Coffrere.
Unbelievable. The man who was best positioned to have an opportunity today to go after the top 3 can't do so. Sunboy's already gone.
Sunboy's already gone, yeah. He's trying to get the jump on Milo because he knows Milo's on those medium tyres, and those mediums have had a nice little break, so they're not going to be as bad as we thought for the end of this race. Down towards La Source they go, and Sunboy 6/10 of a second gap, which is good. Obviously no DRS until the final lap of the race, so this could be quite interesting. Owen past Hulkenberger up into 5th. He's got to use the grip of the tyres rather than the lack of air on the front ring. Astrid Berra going side by side once again down towards a roof barrier, back down a bit as we go through the hill. And down the Camel Straight, Milo still around 0.6 of a second, so Sunboy got a nice little speedy car down that straight. He's going to have to make sure he builds that gap, gets out of DRS ready for the last lap.
There's absolutely so much action going on, but I think that for Milo and Sunboy, it's now a question of the ERS management. Milo actually has front end plate damage.
Down the inside of ARL at Bruel. I'm not sure that was an intentional move, but it was like a Danny Rick, I don't break myself move, but it's worked just about. No real contact, maybe a touch on Berra's rear to ARL's front, but yeah, one of those I've made an overtake that I didn't really want to make at that point.
Clips and Nathan fighting over 13th place, so Nathan did join the back of the queue in the end. But as I was saying, Milo actually doesn't have a front wing end plate, so this pace is really impressive on those 6-lap-old tyres. Nitro's going to sadly drop out of podium contention in just a moment's time, so that means it's Typhon potentially on for a podium, even though Owen is all over the Sauber's rear diffuser. And here he comes, he's going to try and go on the inside on the grass, but the soft shod McLaren moves up into 4th place. Nitro Gas has carried on, which means that it'll just disqualify him, I'd imagine, as he comes across the line, although having said that, it hasn't.
The game will give him, I think, a 30-second penalty at the end of this race because he hasn't had 3 racing laps to actually serve that penalty.
Well, there we go. Thank you very much, Jordan. Let's see then as we go on to the Camel Straight for the final time of asking. I don't think Sunboy's going to hang on to this lead. I don't think he's got any battery left, but Milo de Boer does. Nathan's out, and Milo is going to go through, and it's going to be potentially a Boer victory today. I'm sure his brother will be cheering him on for that move as Nitro fending off his teammate. Then it's Typhon who's hanging on with those soft tyres. Hulkenberger quietly going about in 6th place. What are you seeing, George?
Ashtu Berra going side by side through Lecom. Berra went a little bit deep into it as he overtook Ashtu. Ashtu retaking that place. So Ashtu did get Ginger Tiger prior to Lecom, but I say prior to Eau Rouge, but that's a collision.
And there's more contact, carnage. And that is a 4-car accident, and that all stemmed from, I would say that was a bit of a reckless move going into the corner with no name between, I want to say it was Ginger and Co, but I wasn't quite sure.
Ash Tube.
Yeah, I don't think that move was ever on, to be honest with you, but Temper's fraying. Temper's absolutely going to be going off in the chat later on, I'm fairly certain about that. But Milo de Boer, he won't care a jot about any of that in the Racing Bull because he's going to lead.
Just a last minute thing. Owen going past Nitro Gas up to the bus stop chicane, so he's in the podium places before his penalty.
He will be. Milo de Boer rounds the final corner, and it's a victory for the Racing Bull man. Sunboy takes 2nd. The McLarens are going to drop out of the top 2, so Typhon has done it. He's got the 3rd place, emulating his hero. Owen takes 4th, Hulkenberger 5th, J-Ray Bay in 6th with Berra, Clips. No, it's going to be Berra, Ashtube, Kent is 9th in the end. Thanks to penalties, Clips inside the top 10. I think there's going to be a lot to say after that race.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, Jack, but there was a hell of a lot of cars going wide out of the bus stop chicane.
Yes.
Where people were trying to make some last-minute overtaking manoeuvres. Luckily, there's a lot of room down there to not have severe accidents going on. Coke, fair play to Coke. He's carried on this race. I mean, he's 51 seconds behind the pack, but fair play. He's come home for a finish as Nitro Gas has left the session, which will mess with the end result timings, I think. But yeah, Coke, spirit of the race, in my opinion. There.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to see Coke getting to the end. Scotty saying, why is Kent not P1, not my goat? And wow, what a lot of frenetic action that was today. So much going on throughout the field, but Milo de Boer rising to the top, and the de Boer brothers are going to have something to say in season 21, because these two have both won a Grand Prix. Obviously, Bjorn winning in Brazil and Milo winning this evening. Fascinating. Let's have a look at the situation here. So we've got the race winner of Milo de Boer. We've got Coke with the fastest lap, obviously having all of that space at the end and those soft tyres. Typhon getting driver of the day, just like Hulkenberg and most overtakes. Cleanest driver going the way of Sunboy. let's round us out through those final standings. George, do you want to go through it or shall I?
You go through, because I'm very interested in what this new graphic is
Yes,
after.
of course. So it's a Dutch 1-2. It's Milo de Boer with Sunboy in second place and Typhon emulating his hero in third. Owen in fourth with Hulkenberger, J. Ray Bay inside the top six. Bearer, Ashtube, Kent and Clips inside the last of the point scoring positions. Ivan, ARL and Ginger Tiger were 11th, 12th and 13th with Coke 14th, Nitro and TTG Nathan 15th and 16th. Retirements in the form of Lionel Griesby, DXT Matty and Mikey RK13 having their issues.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, that's my first race on F1 25 complete, and some very interesting points to take away, especially from the tyre element, which I think is a great thing to have, because I like the idea of two-stop races.
Yeah, we definitely did see that with the action today. A little bit messy, I have to say, to be honest with you, this evening. But I think, again, there's a number of drivers aggressively going for places. That's something we'll be keeping an eye out, of course, on during season 21. Jordan, before I talk about the drivers, 10 of the drivers who will be in Tier 1 and 10 of the drivers who will be in Tier 2, who would your driver of the day be?
I mean, this is going to sound really boring, but I think I'll agree with the game on this one with Typhoon. I mean, he's basically done a Nico Hulkenberg, and you can't really put that down, to be fair. I mean, he's taken a Sauber podium. Granted, it is equal cars, but that's not the point. He's got a green and black car, which would normally never see the light of day on a podium, so... And he's had to come from, what was it, 17th on the grid, if I remember correctly?
It was indeed, yeah.
So, yeah, I think I'll have to go to him, and to stay out on those red soft tyres at the end and make them work. That's a pretty solid drive right there, I think.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. It was really, really positive to see. So let's talk about those drivers then, shall we? Shall we start with Tier 2 or Tier 1? What do we think?
Let's go with Tier 2 and work our way up.
Yeah, let's start with Tier 2 drivers. Okay. So, if you are still watching, and there's quite a few of you still watching, what I'm going to talk to you about now, this is confirmed. These are the 10 drivers who will be in Tier 2 and Tier 1. That's not to say that there's only going to be 10 drivers in each tier. That's not the case. There's still some evaluation data to be done this evening and tomorrow before we fully allocate 20 drivers into Tier 1 and 20 drivers into Tier 2, but I can confirm 10 of each. So, in no particular order, in Tier 2, we have Daryl, who is going to be in Tier 2. We've got Trist Games Triple X. We've got Katuso. We've got Mikey RK13. We've got Ira. That's IRRAH. We've got Ronanosaurus. We've got Lion Griesby. We've got FRL O Stephen. We've got Sir Spud. And we have DJ Madman DJ. Those are 10 of our Tier 2 drivers. So that's already a fascinating lineup. In terms of Tier 1, again, in no particular order, we've got Stinos, Bjorn de Boer, we've got AshTube1212, we've got Ruddo24, we've got Ginger Tiger, we've got Milo de Boer, we've got Gial Gearson, we've got Owen, we've got Sydney, we've got Merkt, and we also have ARL. And thanks to his race leading performance today, make that 11, Sunboy is also in there as well.
A nice little mixture of new and old names in those grids, I think. Good to see a lot of returning drivers for IRL and bringing that experience of this league to those that maybe have only got a season or less under their belt for IRL. Not necessarily in racing in general, but obviously every league is different in terms of the way they run and sort of what happens in them. So it's a nice little blend of that.
It's going to be really fascinating, and for those that are still watching, the full allocation of drivers will be happening tomorrow. So what will happen from a management perspective at IRL is we will divvy up the Discord in between tier 1 and tier 2. People will be added and removed from their respective tiers, and you'll have a chance this week to pick a teammate and the car that you would prefer to have. We'll fire out all of the information that you need to know in those specific areas. For those that have been watching, obviously do check out our social medias, so that's Instagram, X, obviously check out the Discord and Facebook too. So all of those channels are active, and we'll be telling you about the driver lineups, the race results, everything will be getting posted on there over the course of season 21. Just to confirm as well, whilst I'm here, tiers 1 and 2 will be streamed and commentated on live. So you'll have myself commentating on tier 1. I know that Jordan will be joining me on occasion, which would be delightful, and I know Mikey has said he'll be joining me in tier 1 as well. ARL will be commentating on tier 2. Jordan has also said that he'll be popping in into tier 2 from time to time as well, which would be great to see. And we also have other commentators lining up and ready and waiting just in case the 4 of us who I've mentioned aren't able to participate for whatever reason. I know that I'm going to be out for a couple of rounds due to some, well, I'm on a holiday basically, so it's all exciting, isn't it, Jordan? Looking forward to this season 21, first full season under new management.
Yeah, it's certainly one to look out for, I think, and one to get involved in, even if you're just a sort of a reserve and sort of waiting to get your chance to show what you can accomplish, especially when you can get on the mighty YouTubes as well. It's always a fascinating thing to watch those races back, and you know, as we all know, we'll all watch back the good ones that we have.
Yeah, of course. I mean, with everything that's going on, that's gone on over the last 5 weeks, actually, to be honest with you, not just the last 5 weeks, the last 3 months really, from the end of F124 through into F125, we have gone through quite a period of flux within Invictus Racing League, and we're now at the precipice of the start of the season, beginning next Monday at our first event, and I'm so happy, I'm so excited to get started, to be honest. And I think it's probably the most hopeful that I have felt in terms of actively managing being involved in the management of the group since for a number of years. So, you know, we've got yourself, Jordan, helping us out with that, Mikey leading the way, we've got the rest of the management team in the form of Ruddo, Daryl, Bruce, and a really good set of collective team members who are in the Discord. So Clips Kerry, you know, we've got Racing Master, we've got Dave as well. There's quite a few other people who I haven't mentioned who've done a lot for us over the course of F124 and the pre-season now. So I'm excited, and I hope you all are too.
Yeah, it's definitely a season to look forward to and remember as we go through it. And I think, as I say, we've got a really nice blend now of sort of returning drivers, new drivers. So I think the racing's going to be even closer than it has been in previous seasons. I mean, we've seen some really tight battles back on F124, and I think we're going to see that even more so now on F125 with this nice blend of drivers. And I think we're going to have a really close fight for both championships, not just drivers but constructors as well, because that's also a massive part. We talk so much about the drivers, but the team element in this league is always fantastic to watch, and so many times have we seen teams work together, making sure that their strategies are basically going to work together. You know, in the likes of previously Jack, you and Mikey, myself and Bruce, Bruce and Ruddo as well. I mean, and that's just people in the management team. That's not even when you look at people like ARL and Ashtu, but those two work as a pair really, really well. Owen and Kent in previous years have been a bit of a dynamic duo, but again, they've worked as well as a team. So
even last season, like Nitro and Ginger, Stephen and Suspud as well, to add to that list.
Absolutely. So it's, as much as we talk about the drivers as individuals, the team element of this is also such a fantastic part of this league. unlike most others, in my opinion, where a lot of times, sometimes you get paired up with your teammate and you don't really talk to each other.
Yeah. But all of that is to come. There's a lot that's going to happen between now and the start of the season next Monday. And for those that don't know the date, that is the 14th of July. There will be a whole heck of amount of action going on over the course of this season. We've got 10 races for all of the drivers to officially navigate, and all of that will be starting in just a week's time. For those that aren't sure, by the way, in terms of where we are racing for next week, where we'll be at Mexico for the first round of the season. But Jordan, thank you very much for joining me. Is there anything you'd like to say before we finish up for tonight?
Other than looking forward to the new season, and let's find out what happens, because it's going to be fantastic to watch.
That it is. Well, that's it from Jordan and from myself, JetTM53, and wherever you might be in the big wide world, have a good one, and we will see you for round 1 at Mexico next week.